5-0 is embarrassing. 5-0 is a score that you don't want to ever see as a team. And the performance that Banyana gave us towards the end of that game, I think, was some of the poorest football I've seen in terms of our defending. Now, you have to cut Banyana some slack. We were without our heavy hitters. Hilda, Linda, Tembi couldn't make it to Denmark due to travel permit problems. They will be back on Tuesday. So you do have to understand that the players that were playing were not necessarily players that were regulars with Banyana, and some of those players, frankly, were a little bit scared, especially when you go out playing versus a team that is ranked 12th in the world. The Denmark game is not a game that you take lightly. So we understand it from that point of view. But I think what disappointed me most about that game, firstly, is that I don't think Denmark played a very good game. I don't think Denmark came out and took us off of the pitch. They had their chances very early on, and maybe they should have taken some of them. There was a header that they took wide, that was just placed wide from literally in front of the post with nobody there. But I don't think this Denmark team were world beaters or deserved the type of respect we gave them. I didn't like the fact that Banyana couldn't hold on to possession. Every time we won the ball back, we tried these Hollywood long passes, or we just couldn't compose ourselves. And maybe that's where the experience of your Refilwe Janes, the experience of your Linda Mhlalos, your Hildas, and those type of players comes into it when you are under pressure by a team. I think you needed somebody who was able to come in and control the midfield and make sure that, okay, Denmark has just scored 1. Denmark has just scored 2. Let's take the fire away from them, because Denmark went on a run for 10 minutes that basically sealed the game. I think our defense at times were making the weirdest mistakes. So you'd find a situation where you have been beaten, left-hand side of our defense, you have been beaten a couple of times right behind you. So the player has made a wide run, the same run behind you, yet you still catch them pushing towards the ball and allowing that ball through. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abo Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I think there was a disorganization at points where you have 6 players in the box, but yet at some point, I think it was Udlamini was literally standing next to Umakama, if I'm not mistaken, and they were sitting together like this, and a ball was played that beat those two and the player that was marking the other player from Denmark with a cutback. And you think to yourself, what was happening with the communication and the positioning? But I think the most frustrating thing about Banyana for me, and it's been one of the problems that we've had quite a bit, teams generally can't play against us. They find it very hard to play football. So passing, triangles, doing all that stuff. We break down those games very well. I think Banyana did very well in that regard. I think Unox Nonkolo had times where she did that well, even though she's still a ball of energy. She's more energy than she is effective in the midfield. But anyway, teams find it hard to play through Banyana. But the only issue is, when you can't play through Banyana, there's an emergency button that you can press that you know you're going to get goals from. And you just start taking the ball high. You just start crossing the ball. You start crowding the goalkeeper. You win your corners, you put the ball in. And I think what's irritating about it is we can't do anything about our height. You can't. That's something that's God-given. You can't change anything. But we need to start coming up with tactics in order to make sure that they are less effective with what they do. And maybe that means, if you watch the Denmark team, they were doing a sort of a zonal header thing where they were starting at the top of the box and then running into the ball, which provides an opportunity for our ladies to get physical with them, to maybe stop them from getting to that point where they need to go. But there were so many times where there was free headers. Free, alone, nobody was around. So if you know that you're smaller and you know that crosses have been the weakness for Banyana for years now, maybe now is the time for you to go, okay, we need to try something new. Be physical, push people away from the goalkeeper. Make sure that if you're jumping with a body on you. Make sure that your header has to be acrobatic and you have to do weird things in order to get that ball on target. But we can't keep allowing that to be the weakness every time we go face the European opposition. We saw it in the World Cup with Sweden, who didn't play well until they started going high. We saw it against the Argentina, who didn't play well and we started going high. And the thing about Banyana and Coach Des, and I know it's going to be a very unfair statement that I'm about to make, you have a golden generation of players. And you're going to ride that golden generation as long as you can. It makes sense for a national team. But there's a lot of players who are sitting on that bench who, when we call on them, you can tell that there's a big gulf in class, and you can tell that they haven't been given the game time to play. And some of it has to go towards SAFA and some of the organization, because we had a game today. We had two games today where the COSAFA Banyana team was playing here at home, and then Banyana was playing overseas. There are some of those players, Ludwig is one of them, maybe could have been an addition to the Banyana team that went over to Denmark that could have helped. So Coach Des has to now start looking at the whole team as well and making sure that if by any chance Refila Jane gets injured the way that she was injured, for example, if the players can't make it, you still have a team that's competent enough to go out and play those games. So I'm not down on Banyana, but to be honest with you, a 5-0 is always embarrassing. And the way that the 5-0 came about, at some point you're waiting for somebody to stop the bleeding, or you're waiting for somebody to say, guys, at this point it doesn't matter if we need to have 8 people behind the ball. Let's stop this momentum that Denmark has at all costs. Then we can start playing. And we saw glimpses at the end of the game when Abu Michael came onto the pitch, where they were actually playing the ball, where they actually held it for a little bit, where they completed 2-3 passes. And you wonder, at 5-0, it's too late to start playing that type of football. So we still have a second chance. Well, we still have more opportunities. On Tuesday, we're going to be playing England, and we're going to have our star players back. So I'm expecting a different type of game. But I think I was disappointed by the simple mistakes, not being aware of things, not having common sense at times to maybe slow down the momentum, and maybe a little bit tactically with Coach Des to say, what was the plan, Coach Des? Did you put out a team that was meant to not lose, or that was meant to limit losses, instead of going out and actually attacking and playing? I don't mind you being defensive. Defensive is never an issue. But you cannot be only defensive, because then you're allowing the other team to come at you over and over and over again. And that's what Denmark did. That score could have easily been 6 or 7 with the chances that they didn't take Denmark with some poor finishing. You have to be able to release some pressure. So that means that maybe leave your strikers up high and go, you know what, guys, when we break, we're going to break like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is how we, maybe not going to score, but we're going to make it that Denmark has to think twice when sending people forward. There was no plan when we won the ball back, and that was very disappointing for him, Banyana and Coach Des. But let's see if they can rectify it on Tuesday. We're not down on the team. This is not meant to be a negative video like that. It's meant to be maybe a wake-up call to say we haven't had friendlies like this for years. It's the first time we played Denmark, for example, a team that's ranked 12th. Let's put our best foot forward and make sure that we're planning, because the big goal should be the World Cup. And this is these are nice chances to go out and test your weaknesses and go and test your fixes, because we know Africa, we know the African game. But when we get up there and all of a sudden it's long balls and high balls and we're being killed by the same thing, you have to question the coaches. So hopefully they can give us a better performance next week, Tuesday, and we're still behind them. Very, very bad result, but I think we can rectify it. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one.